I can't believe it, folks, but Damian Lillard trade rumors might be back for the Miami Heat. A ESPN analyst slash insider suggested that Miami could revisit a Damian Lillard trade if the Milwaukee Bucks struggle early on in the season, and we might have to talk about our old friend here at the Heat Report. But before we do that and jump into what he had to say and about Damian Lillard as a player and how last year fared and what it would cost, I want to get the thoughts of the Heat fans down below. Would you even consider trading for Dame again? I know that saga last June and July was something else, but let me know if you still would do it right now if he was available. Type Y for yes or type N for no. I got to be honest. When I saw this quote, when I saw this headline, when I was reading the articles around the Miami Heat this morning, I did not think a chance in the world that we'd be talking about Damian Lillard today. And I still can't believe it was even suggested by Zach Lowe of ESPN, who was the one who mentioned it. But here we are. And I did want to talk about it because it did intrigue me at least a little bit, because I see a pathway where, like the Heat, if there's one of their top veteran players ultimately doesn't want to be there and, well, the team struggles, well, there could be a trade. Well, Zach Lowe said this specifically. He said, the move would be Dame, and I'll bet you Miami would revisit the failed Dame talks. What am I getting back that makes Giannis happy? If that's my concern. Now, if he says I'm here for the long haul, you need to recoup some draft picks. You get Tyler Herro or whatever fake Dame trade return you want to speculate about. And it is objectively hilarious that the Heat got linked to Damian Lillard once again. Now, in this specific conversation where this got mentioned, Zach Lowe is talking about what happens if the Milwaukee Bucks struggle early on. And, well, let's be clear here. I got to be honest. Their roster is very old. It's very veteran and, ridden. And if they ultimately struggle, they're 500. They're in the play-in over the first 2 months of the season. I think there is a chance they look to shake up their roster. They almost did it this past offseason with Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis Jr., but they still remain on the basketball team. And Lillard had an interesting year in 23-24 as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks for the first time. He's very consistent. He played in 73 games, which is very impressive. He was down in terms of his points per game, only averaging 24, and the percentages in terms of his efficiency were a little bit down as well. We are not used to seeing Dame Dalla shoot 42% from the field and 35% from three. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA, and if we're going to be completely honest here, NBA history, the way he's able to shoot efficient from beyond the arc with a high volume and honestly as deep as Steph Curry range, if not deeper. He is known to make that Lillard logo type shot, but it was a down year for Dame. There could be a lot of reasons for that. First year living in Milwaukee, first year out of Portland, working with Giannis Antetokounmpo rather than being the lead dog over for the Trailblazers organization. But I think there is some stock to buy in the fact that he had to live in Milwaukee. Listen, he also had to go through a divorce. I don't want to air out his personal life, but he was very open about that, how it was very difficult for him going through that with that family matter. And if we're going to be honest here, and I know some Heat fans are going to know this for a T, like, if you believe that you were going to be living in Miami, playing basketball with two good of your friends and Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, because that's where you asked to be traded, and it seemed like it was heading that direction. And ultimately, you have to go live in Milwaukee in the cold. You're going to be disappointed. And I do think that was a part of his struggles. He just wasn't mentally there, mentally focused for this past season. He would be much more happy mentally and physically living in Miami and playing with Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. So I think his numbers would actually be better if he was playing in Miami rather than Milwaukee. More coming up here in just a second, but make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we cover everything around the Miami Heat, whether it be trade rumors like this, news, whatever it is, we got you covered. Training camp's going to begin in a week and a half or so make sure you're locked in because we'll be the one-stop shop for everything Miami Heat. Now, like Dame often does, even though he had a down regular season this past year, he did not have a down postseason. He played in 4 games as the Indiana Pacers took out the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round and then ultimately went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. But Dame was absolutely balling in that series, averaging 31 points per game, shooting what we normally see from him in terms of beyond the arc, 41.7% from three. It was very, very impressive to see Damian Lillard kind of flip the switch if you're talking about how he performed in the regular season and compared prior to the postseason. And although Giannis Antetokounmpo was injured and didn't play much in that series, Damian Lillard proved to me at least that if he needs to be, he can still be that guy. He put the team on his back. It ultimately didn't work out, but he was really the only one going out there hooping, dominating that series. I was very impressed with Damian Lillard's ability to just switch and turn it on in the postseason, which is why I always labeled him as a perfect fit for Miami anyway, because he has been clutch and rises to the occasion in the postseason throughout his entire career in Portland as well, which is obviously something Jimmy and Bam do extremely well, and you need to do in a Heat uniform, considering you are almost in the playoffs every single year. We got more coming up in just a second, including what a trade would look like potentially if Milwaukee did want to move on and Miami spun the block. But we are sponsored by Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America, and it is so easy to play, which makes it my most favorite daily fantasy sports app, and really the only one I can use. 5 million active members, including your boy, and the reason why I like is that you just play the numbers. You don't play other people like on other apps, and all you do is pick more or less to 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. And during the month of September, which we got 2 weekends left in the football month, that's right, you could only get one Caleb Williams passing yard to get you a win. 4 weeks of free W's if you took advantage for the entire month of September, but there's 2 weeks left. Don't miss the deal on Prize Picks because that Caleb Williams special is gone when September ends. You can do daily picks with baseball, hockey starting up, basketball starting up in the next month or so. Or you can do a season-long projection like I have for this upcoming year. More than Bam Adebayo, 9.9 rebounds per game. More than Jalen Brunson, 6.8 assists per game. And less than 10.2 Zachary Risachet points per game. Join me and millions of others playing Prize Picks on a daily basis. I also like that you can get your money withdrawn really quickly. They put their members first, safe and secure withdrawals. And when I hit my picks, which I do quite a bit because I use my hoops knowledge to turn into some serious cash, I can get my money as quick as 15 minutes. So download the app. Use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, as we talk about Damian Lillard and what a trade would look like for Miami, what would it cost? Because it probably doesn't cost you as much as it would have if you made the deal a year ago when you were dealing with the Portland Trail Blazers. Because in this very specific situation, things are going right for Milwaukee. Dame's a year older, which means his, price point is going to be a little bit more down here rather than what it was up here when the Heat were trying to get him from Portland. And I think Zach Lowe's suggestion makes a lot of sense. And I cooked up this trade idea, and this is what I would think it would look like. For salary purposes, you'd have to add Duncan Robinson and Josh Richardson alongside Tyler Herro, but you would also send them an unprotected 31 first-round pick, plus as many pick swaps as they possibly want in the first round. The Heat get Dame. They pair him up with Jimmy and Bam. You get to keep Jaime Jaquez Jr. You keep Nikola Jovic. I think it's a trade that Miami would do in an absolute heartbeat. Question if it is on Milwaukee's aspect, because I'm not sure they'd be willing to take that back. Because let's be honest here, folks. Do those 3 players added to that Bucks roster make them a team that can contend? Probably not, but it would give them potentially some assets to trade away to improve around Giannis maybe, but I'm not so sure that that trade would get it done. I don't know if Milwaukee would accept that, and it's hard to really gauge what we would have to send to Milwaukee for an older Damian Lillard, because I'm not trading Jaime Jaquez Jr. for him at this point, and maybe I would trade Jovic, but that is also kind of a hard sell if you're asking me. So it's kind of this weird play to figure out what you'd have to send to the Bucks. What would you do, though? Let me know. Would you do this trade for Damian Lillard? Type A for accept, type D for decline. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Before we head out of here, I do want to mention this. I doubt this materializes. I think it's a very unlikely scenario where the Milwaukee Bucks stink. They want to trade Dame, and then the Heat are interested again. So that's like a 3-step thing here where I don't really see that being something that actually ends up happening. Now, If it did, would I be happy? Yeah, because I still believe Dame, Jimmy, and Bam would potentially be a top 2 team in the Eastern Conference, and it would be a lot more fun to watch that squad go up against the Boston Celtics than the team that we had to watch last year, especially with a second-year Jaime Jaquez Jr., a third-year Nikola Jovic, Terry Rozier being your sixth man potentially, or traded to add more pieces around the big three that you already have. Like, it would just give Miami a ton of flexibility if they were to make a deal like that, but I don't think Milwaukee would want to do that and blow up the Damian Lillard experiment just after 1 year. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we're talking about Heat basketball every single day with daily videos. I am Nic Rohloff. Watch parties are almost back too in about 2 or 3 weeks, so make sure you're subscribed and join us for those. But as always, see you tomorrow in another video. Go Heat.